the rescuers. There were these 12 boys and their soccer coach, and they like went cave exploring, and they went so far in and so far back that they were stuck. And the reason why they were stuck is because they didn't anticipate the raining season. There was a raining season that like came right after they went in, and so these boys were stuck in this cave for 18 days with no food or water. And as I watched that documentary, I saw their moms, all of the boys' moms, and like camp outside of the cave for like 18 days, not knowing if the boys were still alive, not knowing if they would ever make it out. And it was such a beautiful thing because in this documentary it said that the world surrounded them. That like the world in this documentary says that the world was asking for a miracle. They maybe didn't know who they were asking, but they were asking for a miracle because it was torture. Like they know that these boys didn't die instantly. These are like middle schoolers, and they are like stuck in this cave. And so they went, and all of the news, and they brought every type of religious leader that they had. They had priests, he had all his things. They had a monk, he had all his tent, and they just had several different worship places like in front of the cave. And it was such a heart like wrenching documentary because like how these boys got in were like holes like the size of this, like as large as this tables, and they just went back and back, and they went a couple miles in the cave. And so when raining season hit, like all of the holes were like flooded to the max. And so they went around the world, and they started asking anybody like who is willing to chance their own life just to at least go back to see if these boys are still alive, if they're even worth saving. And so they found this cave diver, scuba diver, and he said that he would do it. And so he went and he put on all his scuba gear. It was such a long journey that he had to carry 6 tanks with him. And so he like hits this water and like he's like swimming and like he's sharing this journey of like how many times that he had how many times that he almost died. The mask came off his face and like he's squeezing through these little holes, and it's pitch dark. He can't even see his hand in front of him, and he's swimming, and he's not even swimming. He's like going through this tunnel. He's going through this like tunnel for miles until there was an opening. And like he finally, what makes it worse is that this cave was and it had like many routes. So he had to figure out where to go. And so after, like literally after a day of swimming, like in water, like he finally gets back and reaches the boys, and the boys are sitting on this embankment in the cave. And they're just sitting there, and they're just like there. He said like they weren't doing much. They were just sitting there, and this had to be like day 10, I think. So they had 10 days without food. And so they're like, and they're there. So he's like, oh man, there is hope, but now I got to get back. And so he leaves the boys and he tells the boys, hey, I got to go. And in his mind, he said, he doesn't even know if he's coming back. He doesn't know if anybody's coming back. But like he gave them hope and he said, just wait right here. And so he swam like a day back. And so they sent a few guys in to see how we can do this. Like, how do we take these 12 boys out where the hole is filled with water? There is not even a breathing room. There's no breathing room. These boys they don't have any scuba training. They don't have anything. And so how do we do this? And you saw humanity like go far and beyond what they thought they were capable of for these boys. They were dreaming up new schemes. They were risking their lives. Actually, this gentleman attempted something and like he volunteered and he went and never made it to him. And he died. And so so whenever we like think of these songs of like how much more does he love us? Like he loves us more than like our whole humanity, people coming together trying to rescue these boys. Like it's so much more than that. And we are in the book of Galatians, and we are in, and I just want to bring this verse from chapter 6, if you may, Dan. I think it's the first verse. Yeah. Keep playing. Right. I just want to stay here. Sorry. We won't be here long, but I just really want to like show you like this rescue and like how this verse addresses this. And so it says, brothers and sisters, like whenever these boys were stuck in the cave, like there had just to be value just to go and get them. If they were an animal, I don't care if your best friend's dog, and I don't care if your dog is your best friend, if it's like Miles in this cave, good luck on that. But it says, brothers and sisters, if someone is caught in sin, and the reason why I want to just to pair this story with this, because I think we get tripped up on like caught in sin. It's like, man, I'm getting caught doing something I shouldn't do. But really, those little boys were caught in sin. If we think about sin is a mistake. It is a missing of the mark. And all they were doing was just exploring. And they were caught in sin. And then it says that you who live by the Spirit should restore that person gently. Those who live by the Spirit should restore that person gently. As I think of these men and these women and how they grouped, and they're like, how do we restore them? And they had just to think about gentle ways that they can do it, because they even thought about blowing a hole in the cave. But that wasn't gentle. That would kill them. They thought about teaching them how to just scuba dive while they are like 10 days malfunction. They have no training. That wasn't gentle. And so they had to think of a gentle way. And not that they had to, they wanted it to be gentle. They wanted it to be a gentle rescue. Do you know why? Because it was hard enough on them already. This is a perfect picture, I think, of our God. It's hard enough on you already. I will be gentle. And we don't think of him like this. We don't. And then it says to restore that person gently, but watch yourselves, or you also may be tempted. Again, these men were going in the cave, and they were seeking their way. And this verse explains that perfectly. Hey, be careful when you are going to save them, because I don't want you to get lost or hurt. But in order for this man or these men and women just save them, they had to go where they were. Miles into this cave. How many of you in this society in America, how are you willing to go where someone else is? Fully. We can easily say, yes, but there's a cost. And and if you were those boys, if you were one of those boys, wouldn't you want someone to fully come to you?
Yeah.
So we should do that for each other. And then here's the verse that I would love to hit on. It says, carry each other's burdens. And in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. And that law is love one another as I have loved you. When you carry each other's burdens, when you go to them miles under the earth, pitch dark, 10 days of no food, this is you carrying their burden. And if anyone thinks that they are something when they are not, they deceive themselves. And I remember in the reading some posts and on Instagram about this, and I remember reading some comments, and they were saying, why would you even do that? Why would you even lead, you irresponsible soccer coach? Why would you lead 12 boys miles under the earth and not come back, not turn around? Why would you do that? And I think the issue is that we think that we would not do something that someone else did. But you will. And you can. I remember, if y'all have been in church, there's a guy named Robbie. He's this great spiritual Christian leader, thought leader who passed away. And after he passed away, there was a lot of things came out about him. A lot of horrible things. And I remember there was a list. So I read down that list and I was like, oh my gosh. And I remember people saying, this is terrible. Why would anybody do this? He let us down. And then I looked at the list and I'm like, yep, I would do all those things. We are always just one step away.
Yeah.
Always. If we're honest, we're always just one step away. You are not that far from anything that anyone else would do.
Yeah, that's good.
But it's only by the grace.
Amen.
Only by the grace, not your grace, not your goodness, not your ability, but it's only by the grace of God that you have not murdered anyone. It's only God keeping your mind sane. It's only by the grace of God. And it says each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone. That's that word. That's the word pride, Tiffany. Without comparing themselves to someone else, for each one should carry their own load. Each one should carry their own load. What does this look like? I got a lot of stories just today. I was doing a CrossFit with Ben Hamill here, and I consider myself an athletic person. I mean, look at me. But man, CrossFit was kicking my tail. Like I'm not good at it. I'm not, and it was terrible. I've really not been good at any like physical activity. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm really not good. So much so that the room was spinning. I had to walk out, but they partnered me and Ben up. Well, I partnered myself up with Ben because I said, bro, I don't know if I can take this, but if I'm with you, I know you got me.
Yeah.
I know you got me. And so we start in hard. We going, yep, the room starts spinning. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna, and that's usually not me. Like literally, I'm the other person. The other person's room is spinning it. And I'm like, I got you, bro. But this time it was me. And I remember Ben said, hey, go to the bathroom and I will finish all of our reps. And I was like, man, that's nice, but man, that's terrible. Because I felt like I was letting him down. This is what this verse means. I went out and sat for a few minutes. Ben was finishing our workout because it was a partnered workout. But when I came back, I said, hey, Ben, I got it. And I did my little part. And this is what it means just to carry each other's burden and yourselves. Like we both had to just participate in the workout.
Yeah.
And so and I'm like literally almost there. As the boys were being as they were trapped in the cave. I remember this one distinct part where they went and they wrote down ideas for like, it took them a week. Like, how do we get these boys out? And they said, what if we sedate the boys and throw on a scuba mask, and we will have to, in this little small hole, attach them to us, and it will make our time going out longer. So it was like longer than a day. They had to carry more tanks. They had to double. They had just triple the tanks that they had, because they had to have some for the kid and themselves, and it was a longer journey. And so what they did was they literally carried their burden. They literally carried the burden, and they attached them to them, and they had everybody praying. And everybody was praying, and everybody was like hoping as they started just to bring one boy out, and then two boys, and then three, then four, then five. And each boy was a miracle. They could not figure this out. They was like, oh my gosh, this was a long shot. A a long shot. Some of the boys stopped breathing on their journey. Some masks slipped off. They are fully submerged underwater the whole time. And they cannot believe that this is happening. It was a long shot. And what they did was, and they may not have known it, but also in the same chapter, verse 9 says this. It says, let us not become weary in doing good. For at the proper time, you may be famished. You may think, I have nothing left. You may think that this is it, that this is my last straw. It says, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. And for me, this is such an encouraging verse because we are talking about carrying each other's burdens, and your things may be too heavy, but Paul ends with this. He says, don't give up. That a team did not give up on those boys. And here is the most beautiful thing about this verse. It says, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest. That means that we will reap what we sow. If we do not what? It does not say accomplish doing good. It does not say hit the mark in doing good. It does not say if you don't fail. It does not say you will reap a harvest if you do this thing perfectly. It says simply do not give up. Those men who rescued those boys had no idea that they would make it out with those boys. But all they knew was that they could not give up. And a harvest was reaped because they saved those boys. And you may not even feel this in your life. He was like, hey man, I've been living life for 30, 35, 40, 50, 60 years. I haven't reaped a harvest. All of my days are hard. Well, maybe if you don't experience it here, you will experience it in heaven. And for us, sometimes that just has to be enough. But I understand that it's not. I am fully convinced. Have a seat, guys. Yeah, find a seat. I am fully convinced that if we do not give up, if we don't grow tired in doing good, and you may be tired, but in this sense, there's a biblical sense is that this is the type of tiredness that takes you out of the game completely. But I understand that you are tired, but don't stop doing good. Don't stop doing good. Don't stop trying. Don't give up. Because there is a promise to that if you just simply don't give up, that's it. It's just simply don't give up. Then you will reap a grand harvest. My grandfather had a garden, and I remember that some years he would plant something and it didn't grow, and he would just attempt again next year, and it would grow, and it was like twice the size that it was the last time I saw it. he did not give up. That's actually kind of how I feel about my grass, Terrell. It's like, man, I went into this fall, guys, with hopes, man. I planted that grass. But it started off green. Now, man, it is my skin color. So, but the point is that I'm not giving up.
Amen.
I'm already looking forward to next fall. I'm like, hey, I gotta switch grass. If y'all have any ideas, let me know. Because I'll take them. But if you don't hear anything I said this morning, and I know this was a conversational tone, if you don't hear anything I said this morning, it's that there is always someone available within UCity. And this is our hope, that will help you carry your burdens. Our hope is that as a church that we will go all the way there with you.
Yeah.
No matter what the risk is for ourselves. I think we don't live in a society that is counter to the society that we live in. I'm gonna go as far as my safety and my emotional health and my physical health and I'm gonna make sure and I'm gonna go as far as long as it doesn't affect my mental health. When it does, I'm out. And it's like, no, you need to take that just to Jesus too.
Yeah.
Like, have him help you meet them there.
Yeah.
Because if it was you would want the same thing. And this is what Jesus did. This is how, and I'm ending. This is what Jesus did for us. Despite just his mental health and his mental anguish and his physical beatings and his torture and his being talked down to and being misunderstood, does the list go on and on? It does. He went all the way there for us to save us because of our mistakes, because of our wandering into a dark cave, miles and miles under the earth. And some of us are there and we don't even know how we got here.
Yeah.
And you don't even see a way out. So I don't even know how to get back where I came from. If someone doesn't save me, I'm not going to be saved. And so I just want to encourage you in this room is that God has already went all the way there for you.
Amen.
And Jesus is willing to do it again and again and again. But he has already done it in every way. And so I would love to spend a few moments here. This Sunday was intentional for just to throw in a little bit of it's more of our worship and talking just to God Sunday is. So what I would love for us to do, if you have a burden, there is a place where is your cave? What is the cave that you're in that you have went to and you're like, I can't find a way out of this one? And share that, because that is sharing your burden. That is helping us carry each other burden. And then I would love for each other just to pray for that thing. Now, if you are, hey, I'm not a prayer. I don't even know if God is real, so I don't feel like talking to him. That's fine. You can encourage that person in that. Yeah, you can encourage him. Hey, like a hearty, go get him, champ. But I want to push you though. Just have a vulnerable moment. And then we will end with Jesus, we love you.